Before I get on with the main part of the video, I thought I'd address the news that came out this morning. Obviously, we all know what happened. Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva were tragically killed in a car crash. Now, it's moments like these where the football world just stands still in shock, and fortunately, it doesn't happen very often. But when it does, it's a feeling you can't get used to. It's a feeling that every time you open your phone in the morning when you wake up and you see the first thing that pops up is stating that something tragic like this has happened. It's awful. And look, the reason why I'm not making a full video on this matter and I'm only making it a small segment is because my word ultimately means nothing. Me giving condolences isn't going to bring him back or bring both of them back. It's not going to repair the damage that is done to his wife and kids and the overall family. So I didn't want to make a whole video because I thought, what, it doesn't do anything. What am I trying to achieve? But it obviously, I feel like it'd be disrespectful if I didn't at least mention it, because Diogo Jota is a player who's brought smiles on so many people's faces for club and country, on and off the pitch. The guy, the things that I've heard about him and learned about him after this just really make it even sadder, because I've realized how good of a person the guy was. He cared for fans off the pitch. He just loved everyone that supported him, and he just reciprocated that energy. And that's why he was so loved by the fans as well. And look, he brought so much to the football pitch, but ultimately it's more than that. It's not about football. It's about the loss of a husband. It's about the loss of a father. Three kids will have to grow up without their father, and it's tragic that in an instant, that's it. You know, two lives gone, and dozens and dozens and dozens of lives hurt by this directly. I hope that Jota and Andre Silva's family can heal from this sooner rather than later, and that they can kick back on with their lives, because it sucks, man, that this had to happen so early in their lives. But I hope both of the victims are now celebrated as people as well as footballers for what they brought to the pitch and to everyday life, and I'm sure they will be. And it's days like these which, in a community which is always arguing, always fighting, always debating, feels like we all have come together and, for the most part, appreciated respectfully another man's life. So yeah, man, that's what I'm gonna say on Diogo Jota and Andre Silva. I hope they rest in peace. And it's really sad, man. It's really sad. But look, today there's been some big news that's been coming out in the revolving transfers, especially, as you can tell by the title, Rodrygo Goes has been given the green light to leave Real Madrid, and as things stand, it's looking like Arsenal FC are going to be, the most likely destination. We're getting told now that Arsenal held preliminary talks with the player, which is always a sign that a transfer will potentially happen, because obviously for a club to bid, they need to know that the player is interested. They need to know that it's actually feasible. And the fact that they've held preliminary talks shows that Arsenal are trying to get this deal done, and they'll probably try to get it done soon. And it's a player who they've been linked with for a while, but I think they've been waiting, because I think Rodrygo has been wanting to stay at Real Madrid, or he's been kind of in denial that Xabi Alonso doesn't want him or need him. So I don't know if you can tell, my nose is so blocked, I can barely talk, but I'm trying to get this out for you lot. But yeah, I think Rodrygo, obviously, who doesn't want to stay at Real Madrid? If you're starting at Real Madrid, you're not going to go anywhere else. So Rodrygo, obviously, in a perfect world, he would have stayed and started, but clearly that's not the case. Xabi Alonso said he's not going to stand in his way if he wants to leave, and if a suitable offer arrives, he will go. And look, Chelsea have been linked with him a little bit. We're probably not going to go for him now, because obviously we've signed Pedro and Gittins, but you can never know with Chelsea. But Arsenal right now is looking like the most likely destination. Obviously, then there's some questions, because Rodrygo's not going to leave Real Madrid to sit on the bench. But Arsenal have Saka. And Saka, even though he's had injuries, he's not necessarily injury prone. He had a big injury last season, but that was kind of the first one. So where he'll play will be interesting. I don't know if he'll move to the left, but he's a right winger. Saka might have to move to the left. Someone's going to have to be sacrificed or have to accommodate for that. What happens to Martinelli? All these questions, which we don't really know the answer to right now. Obviously, the deal's in its early stages. But this is a player who instantly comes into any club, especially a club like Arsenal, and he raises the quality immediately. He is that statement signing that they've needed. Obviously, they've signed Norgard, who's a decent backup centre mid or replacement for Partey and Jorginho, who can be very consistent, but he's 31 now. He's not going to bring in, new era, and he's not going to carry us onto trophies. Kepa's just a backup goalkeeper, but this will be a statement signing. He's a young guy. He's proven in the Champions League and La Liga. He can do the business, and he can do it in big games as well. Scored against Premier League sides in that famous Champions League run. Chelsea to send it to extra time. Man City 2 goals in injury time to send it to extra time. This guy, he's proven he's a good top player, and I think he's got potential to be even better than that. I think, in fact, Real Madrid have been holding him back a little bit because obviously in that side, you've got Mbappe who wants to be the star. You've got Vinicius who wants to be the star. You've got Bellingham who wants to be the star. And of course, Rodrygo wants to be the star as well. Who doesn't want to be the star? It's natural. But unfortunately, Rodrygo seems like he's going to be the one who's going to get sacrificed first out of the 4. And let's be honest, he's probably the worst player of the 4. But I think that's a bit harsh. I'd say he's the least best because he's such a class player, bro. This guy is quality. I would have loved him at Chelsea. I think it's the type of signing we needed to make. But it's looking like he's going to go to Arsenal. And that is a top signing. What interests me about this as well is, does that mean now they're not going to sign Madueke? Because obviously there's been links there. Arsenal also engaged in personal talks with Madueke earlier. So does that mean they're just, kind of assessing their options? Do they prefer Rodrygo over Madueke? And they were just waiting for Rodrygo to give the green light, or Xabi Alonso to say, yeah, you're gone? Or is it the other way around where they're more interested in Madueke, hence they approached him first, and now they're kind of going to Rodrygo as a plan B? We'll see, but I think if I had to pick from the two, Rodrygo by far for me would be who I'd try to get first. Obviously, he'll probably be more expensive. I don't know how much Real Madrid would want. Obviously, it says here, if a suitable offer arrives, they will not stand in the player's way. What is a suitable offer? We don't really know yet. Obviously, he's a young player. He's proven, so he's probably going to cost, and he's an attacker. So he'll probably end up costing around, I'm not an expert, but maybe upwards of 60 million to 70 million euros or pounds. He's a top player, and he's going to cost a lot of money because of that. So that'll be interesting to see if it actually, becomes anything. But for now, again, like a lot of the deals that we talk about on this channel, it's just speculation. But, with a lot of the deals we've also spoken about on this channel, Pedro and Gittins, they actually turn out to happen. So yeah, I can definitely see it happening. I don't see Rodrygo going anywhere else, to be honest, except for if it's a Chelsea that comes in for him, or maybe even a Man United. But I don't think Man United have even got that pool right now, and they're more focused on Mbeumo and other things. But yeah, Rodrygo is a player who instantly lifts Arsenal's ceiling. He instantly lifts any club's ceiling, and the one obviously doubt for me and probably for most people is, where does he play? If he plays in his preferred position, who else has to accommodate? Who has to be sacrificed? And it's the decisions that you have to make in football when you make new signings. They're tough decisions, but they have to be made. And it's up to the people who make those decisions to make them. Arteta's going to have to, tweak the system a little bit, but it's Arteta. He's got to a point where he's running out of excuses and he's running out of time. He needs to deliver, and a player like Rodrygo does, in my opinion, bring them closer to delivering. For me, Arsenal will still not be a perfect team, even with Rodrygo. I think they'll need to strengthen a lot more. Obviously, they need a striker. I can't believe they haven't got that wrapped up yet. Sesko, Gyökeres, whoever it is, guys, you're in Champions League football. You finished second in the league. You went to the Champions League semi-finals. I don't get how they haven't just wrapped it up. Because I honestly think if Arsenal went to Gyökeres and gave him the personal terms and, offered, 50 million that Sporting won, Gyökeres cannot say no to that. Same with Sesko. So I think it's just on Arsenal's part. They're just indecisive right now, which is a bit weird. I mean, obviously there's still time in the window, but ideally you want to get it wrapped up before other clubs come in and swoop who you want, because then you run out of options. But yeah, all of a sudden Arsenal have been making a lot of moves in the transfer window. Obviously we know Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City have been getting very active. But it's sort of like United, Tottenham, and Arsenal were just kind of sitting back, being a little bit more relaxed, which is weird because in my opinion they're the ones who needed to invest most this window. But now it feels like those clubs are finally getting back in, especially Arsenal, who are now linked with Eze as well. Eze for me again would be another needle mover. He will again lift the level, and again another player who I'd love at Chelsea. I know as a Chelsea fan I've got used to getting everyone, so I'm saying oh Arsenal linked with this guy, let's bring him here instead. But we got to let the little guys have some players. We have to leave some for the rest of them. So I mean, if they do get either Eze or Rodrygo or both, I mean, I could see them challenging for it all next season in terms of the league for sure. Because Liverpool, have made big signings. So have City. But if Arsenal make big signings, and especially, on top of the two I just mentioned, get a big striker like Sesko. I mean, they've already got one of the best defenses in the league, if not the best defense in the league when everyone's fit. So the real thing stopping them for me was a bit of extra reinforcement in midfield, but especially adding that X factor to the attack because they only had Saka there so far. Havertz wasn't doing it. Marino isn't really a striker. You can't have him there on a consistent basis and expect to challenge for trophies. Martinelli, it looks more and more inconsistent each season. And Gabriel Jesus is Gabriel Jesus. He gets injured a lot. He doesn't score many goals. Sterling obviously was a flop. So yeah, we're gonna see what happens. But Arsenal, if they get their deals done, which they rarely do, they don't do very often. But if they get these deals done, Eze, let's say Gyökeres or Sesko and Rodrygo, bro, they've already got Zubimendi as well. I forgot to mention Zubimendi. They have a very, very good chance next season at the title. But obviously, we'll see how all of this develops. Early stages. But yeah, as always, I'll be bringing you updates as they come. So, yeah, that's it. Rest in peace to Diogo Jota and Andre Silva again. They will forever be immortalized in the football space and community. And I've just read somewhere that I think Liverpool will be retiring the number 20 shirt. Or at least, a lot of fans are saying that they should retire the number 20 shirt. It would be a nice gesture. But either way, Jota will forever be remembered. And so will his brother, man. It's I feel bad when people only focus on Jota because at the end of the day, it's more than football. It's about two lives that were lost. And both of their lives are equally valuable. But yeah, man, it sucks, bro. And yeah, in a bit.